Hey guys, Popcorn Recaps here, and today I'll show you the psychological horror film Orphan. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the video. The movie starts with a nightmare sequence in a hospital where we learn that Kate suffers from a huge mental trauma following the stillbirth of her third child. Kate awakens in her bed and goes to the bathroom where we can, for a moment, see a large incision scar on her belly. She then takes an antidepressant pill before going back to bed with her husband John. The next morning, Kate goes to see Dr. Browning, her therapist. Kate says that perhaps the nightmares are happening because she and John are planning to soon adopt a child, and she is just stressed about it because she feels like she is not ready to adopt yet. She mentions that she recently had drinking urges but so far has not drank a single drop. The doctor then tells her that since she was able to resist that temptation, she is more than ready to be a good adoptive mother. Kate then goes to pick up her deaf daughter Max from school, and on her way home she is so distracted by her own thoughts that she almost gets hit by a truck. Well, that doesn't sound good. The next morning, the couple arrives at St. Mariana's orphanage for girls where they are greeted by Sister Abigail. As they walk inside, someone is seen watching them from a window. Kate then goes to watch some girls play whereas John wanders alone inside the building in search of the bathroom. When he comes back, he is stopped by the voice of a little girl singing. He follows the singing and sees a young girl sitting alone in a room, painting. John begins to walk away when the girl suddenly greets him. John steps into the room, and the girl introduces herself as Esther. John begins to look through her paintings and is impressed at how well they are done, especially for such a young girl like Esther. Kate and Sister Abigail then join them and start having a nice little conversation. It is clear that Esther is very mature for her age as she sees herself as different compared to the other kids. Very soon it is clear for Kate and John that Esther is the girl that they want to adopt. They proceed to go over the necessary paperwork for the adoption in Sister Abigail's office, who tells them that Esther is originally from Russia and that she lost her parents in a house fire. She is also a very mature 9-year-old, very smart and very polite as well. She also mentions that Esther is like a princess because she likes to wear ribbons around her neck and wrists at all times. I wonder if this is going to be somehow relevant later on. A few weeks later, Kate and John take Esther home and Max rushes out to meet her new sister. Esther uses sign language to greet her and Max is instantly under her charm. However, Daniel isn't fond of her at all. He finds her weird and asks his father why she dresses like that. Esther is also introduced to Barbara, who is John's mother and Esther's new grandmother. Esther is pleased to see a piano in the house and is eager to start learning it. A few days later, a celebration is held in honor of Esther with presents and cake. Daniel doesn't want to join the party and instead plays Guitar Hero with his friend Tyler. John is so busy celebrating the occasion that he does not pay attention to Daniel at all. Esther gives John a huge hug and smiles at Danny from over his shoulder, clearly loving the attention of her new father. Daniel, saddened by the lack of attention from his father, decides to leave the room and go into his wooden treehouse with his friends. That night, while Kate and John are busy in bed, if you know what I mean, Esther gets out of bed and knocks on the couple's door saying Max and she cannot sleep because they are afraid of the lightning. Esther then specifically asks if she can sleep next to her new daddy. I wonder where this is going. The next day, Esther goes to her first day in school and her classmates all make fun of her dress, which does not make Esther very happy. Back home, Daniel is seen playing with a paintball gun and shoots a pigeon. Esther then hands him a big rock and tells him to put it out of its misery or it will starve to death. Daniel cannot do it, so Esther kills the bird by crushing it with the rock, saying that it's in heaven now, which really scares Daniel for the first time. I knew she was weird, but it's only the beginning, guys. At school, Daniel knocks her books down and Esther's new classmate makes fun of her Bible. Then Esther screams when the girl tries to take off Esther's neck ribbon. A perfectly normal reaction for a normal 9-year-old. Later, during a piano lesson, Esther is seen making 11 mistakes during a simple play, which discourages her a lot. Kate then encourages her to not give up and decides to show Esther her flower garden where her stillborn baby Jessica is buried, which made Esther and Kate cry. What a touching moment. Later that evening though, during the couple's fun time in the kitchen, Esther is seen watching them from afar, which startles the couple and further increases Esther's creepy factor by around 1,000%. Kate then goes to see Esther in her room and tries to explain what grown-ups do when they love each other, the birds and the bee style, but Esther shoots her down by saying that she knows, adults fuck. Great, no need for the talk then, I guess. During a weekend where lots of children are playing at the park, Esther creeps up behind her mean classmate and pushes her off the slide, breaking her leg. After that incident, during dinner, Esther denies pushing her classmate, pretending that they were only playing. Even Max lies and says that the girls slipped. However, Daniel does not wish to treat Esther like his sister and insults her. As a punishment, the father decides to lock the treehouse until Daniel apologizes for what he said. Bad move, John. Bad move. During grocery shopping, Kate receives a call from Sister Abigail, who asks to speak to Esther, who rudely refuses to take the call. While Kate is on the phone, Esther asks Max to spy on the conversation by reading her mother's lips. Later that day, Kate finds Esther playing the piano like a pro, which makes Kate question the whole piano lesson they did the other day, meaning that Esther tried to hide her advanced knowledge for piano from Kate for some reason, which raises her suspicion over Esther. She then complains about it to John, who dismisses it as her being too overly emotional about it. They then have a huge and loud fight over John's cheating in the past. Their fight is so loud that Esther hears it in her room, which makes her smile. The next day, the couple receive a visit from Sister Abigail that warns them that there may be something wrong with Esther. Apparently, she is always present when somebody gets hurt or dies, and the fire that killed her family was due to arson, which increases Kate's suspicion even further but is dismissed by John because he thinks these are just mere coincidences. Esther then goes to Max for help, saying that there is a bad woman downstairs that is here to take her away and that she needs the key to Daniel's treehouse. During the search, Esther takes a hammer, planning to get revenge against Sister Abigail bad-mouthing her. Max then finds a key to the lockbox that, when opened, reveals a revolver inside. Esther then takes the gun and empties all bullets except one and points it at Max, asking her if she wants to play Russian roulette. Oh my god, what is wrong with her? She is then interrupted by Sister Abigail leaving the house. Esther and Max run toward the bridge, and when the sister's car passes by, Esther pushes Max in front of the car, nearly killing Max but crashing the sister's car in the process. She then creeps behind Sister Abigail's back and hits her in the head with the hammer before dragging her body in the snow right before a car passes. She is then seen finishing her off with the hammer before hiding all the evidence in Daniel's treehouse. Esther threatens Max to keep what happened a secret or they will both go to jail. We then see Daniel spying on Esther coming from the treehouse, and that night Esther decides to go to Daniel's room and threatens to cut off his manhood if he tells what he saw. Yikes. The next day, Esther is taken to the therapist to try to understand if something is wrong with her, but the doctor says that she is just a nice, smart little girl going through some bad times and that there is absolutely nothing wrong with her. All of that while Esther is having a raging fit in the toilet. A few days later, the body of Sister Abigail is discovered, but the police have currently no suspect for the crime, which again increases Kate's suspicion even more. With Sister Abigail now dead, Kate wants to continue her unfinished investigation of the Russian orphanage where Esther previously stayed in. When calling the orphanage, they say that there are no records of Esther ever being there. Strange. The next day, Esther is painting in the same room as John's home office, and she says that Kate doesn't love her very much, to which John replies that it's not true and that if she wants, she could do something nice to show Kate how much she likes her. Esther then goes to Kate with a bouquet of white flowers picked from her dead child's grave. That angers Kate so much that she grabs Esther's arm and hurts her a little bit in the process. But that wasn't enough for Esther, because later that evening, Esther purposely breaks her own arm to blame Kate for what she did earlier on. Esther then complains to John that her arm hurts, which makes John believe the child instead of Kate. Kate, then frustrated by her husband not believing her, buys 2 bottles of wine at the store. However, while recalling her alcoholic past, she resists drinking it and empties one of the bottles into the sink. The next morning when they arrive at school, Kate gets out of the car to help Daniel pick up his fallen books while Esther releases the brake, causing the car to slide off a slope into the snow, almost hurting Max in the process. Knowing that Esther is behind that, Kate tries to explain to John and Dr. Browning that Esther is behind all of the latest incidents and that she wants her out of the house. However, John shows her a bottle of wine she bought last night and tells her that he thinks that she must have been drunk when all of that happened. The couple is arguing about how Kate must go to a rehab center while Esther whispers to Max's ear that she will shoot mommy if she tells on her. Oh great, we haven't heard that one before. Later that night, Daniel goes to Max's room and asks her about Esther, to which Max shows him drawings of every single incident Esther was responsible for, including what is hidden in the treehouse. Daniel tells her that he's gonna retrieve what's in the treehouse, and then everybody will have to believe them, but is overheard by Esther, who is on the other side of the door. The next morning, Kate searches through Esther's belongings to try to find her Bible, which is stuffed with multiple pictures of middle-aged men inside. She then notices a mysterious Saarinen Institute logo on the latest page, which is revealed to be an Estonian mental hospital and not an orphanage. Meanwhile, Esther meets Daniel in the treehouse and tries to burn all evidence of the Sister Abigail's incident and tries to trap Daniel in the treehouse. Daniel then falls on the ground and Esther is ready to finish him off with a rock just like the bird earlier on, but Max intervenes and pushes Esther away, saving her brother. Daniel is then transported to the hospital as he has sustained major injuries. Esther then manages to slip away the attention of the grandma and tries to smother Daniel with a pillow before getting interrupted by Kate, who got a heads up by Max. Kate cannot suppress her anger anymore and slaps Esther with all her strength, but is then physically detained in the hospital for hurting a child. Oh boy, that wasn't the right move, guys. Come on. Back home, after John has gone drunk, Esther puts on a sexy dress with lots of makeup and tries to seduce John, who gets upset and tells her that he doesn't love her like that and then threatens her to send her back to the orphanage. Finally, John is starting to open his eyes. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Kate receives a call from the Estonian Institute that explains to her that her family is in danger, and that's because Esther is not really a child. She is a 33-year-old woman with a rare hormonal disorder that makes her look like a child. She was also one of the most dangerous and violent patients in the institutes because she killed at least 7 people. When she was a resident, she was so violent that she was wearing a straitjacket all the time. She was wearing it for so long that she now has permanent scars around the wrists and the neck. She has spent her entire life pretending to be a child, and when she failed to seduce her first adoptive father, she killed the entire family and burned the house down. Meanwhile, John discovers that Esther painted some evil secret pictures on her room wall and realizes that Kate was right all along. Kate tries to call John to tell him to leave the house, but Esther stabs him to death under Mac's eyes. When Kate arrives home, she finds the lifeless body of her husband on the floor and gets shot in the arm by Esther. Then follows up a scary hide-and-seek game where Esther, armed with a gun, is trying to find Kate to end her like John. While hiding outside, Kate notices Max hiding in the greenhouse and tells her to stay there and hide. Esther then tries to shoot Kate and Max but misses all of her shots until Kate breaks through the glass ceiling of the greenhouse and lands on top of Esther, knocking her unconscious, to then escape to the woods with Max while the siren of the police is heard in the distance. Everything seems to be finally over, but unfortunately, when the police arrive they cannot find any traces of Esther. Esther has disappeared from the greenhouse and is now running with a knife towards Kate, trying to stab her, but falls down the hill with Kate into the frozen pond. Kate knocks her head on the frozen ground and then battles against Esther on the frozen pond. Esther manages to slash Kate several times during the fight while Max grabs the guns and shoots a bullet into the frozen pond, breaking the ice and making them fall into the icy water. Kate manages to get out of the water before Esther while grabbing Kate's leg, asking for help with her knife still behind her back, but Kate refuses and kicks her hard in the head, breaking her neck and letting Esther fall into the icy water, putting an end to this horrible struggle. And there you have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Good night, everybody.